Hi, this is James again, Grace Glimpses, and this is still my series about growing up, my growing up in Lagro, Indiana, and how God has been faithful to me. Of course, you see below the house that I keep referring to. This is, I believe it's 1260 Washington Street, Lagro, Indiana. And if you are from Lagro, or remember the Powell family from Lagro, make sure you comment below, connect with me, and one of these days I'm going to be able to get my family back there. And I've had my wife there through there one time, right when we first got married, uh, you know, 30 years ago, over 30 years ago. And so with that said, we're going to talk a little bit about a few experiences, a couple experiences, and I'm going to show you some pictures of my family, and then my siblings. I have a picture of my siblings before my older sister passed away, and then a picture of us siblings together with mom before she passed away. So, all right, that said, let's get into it. Do want to remind you, make sure you subscribe, share, and like the video. All right, this is the house once again that I grew up in, and let me kind of slide this here just a tad. Nope. Oh well. Okay. Now, one of the stories that my siblings tell me about, told me about, was John Wessina. Of course, if you remember, if you know us, Wessina was the oldest. Then it was John, then it was me, and then my younger sister Christy. But this is one of the things that they told me about. I was about 5 years old, and I was on a tricycle, and they told me they backed the tricycle up to the door here, and they said if you ride fast enough, you'll ride off and go down and make it to the down the steps. So we did not do that. I ended up falling down and getting all banged up, and mom mom got pretty upset. But that's the upbringing. Some some crazy things that happened. Once again, if you remember the Powell family, go ahead and comment below. From Lagro, Indiana. If you remember us living here on the corner, yeah, a lot of things happened. We played softball in this side yard. I still don't. Man, I did not realize it was that small. It was crazy. We hit balls and hit the window. This side window, I remember times the balls would bust the window a couple times. So the other story I wanted to tell about is at the time my my older sister and her husband were living in the house with us, and he grabbed a toilet paper roll, old toilet paper, and old paper towel. We created. We took the small paper roll. In fact, it's this. I just happen to have one here. An old cardboard paper towel or a toilet paper roll after it's all empty. We had two of those, and then an old paper towel cardboard roll. We filled it with um, gunpowder, sealed both ends, and put a rocket fuse in it, but gunpowder. So we had two small toilet paper rolls, one paper towel roll, and we went down by the river. If you remember Lagro, you used to be able to go down. There was a hill down here. You'd walk down the rivers down over here. Went over the hill, and we headed down this way, down over the hill, and we buried them in the ground. And we did the two small ones, then we did the paper towel, and buried the paper towel roll, packed with gunpowder with a rocket fuse. Lit it. We had a friend with us from Wabash, and he knew exactly how long the fuse would last. We lit that, and we were actually walking up. Came up the hill, walked behind the school, and um, and we were coming down. We had come back behind the school, and we were walking down the sidewalk, probably about right in here, if I remember correctly, when you heard the no, it may have been we were back over this way behind the school. If you remember the old school building here, and there's a walkway all the way around. We were probably back over here when we heard the kaboom. I mean, it was loud. And then we were about right in here when the town sheriff came driving by. If you remember, I cannot remember his name, but the town sheriff came driving by, and what was that? And all we responded was, "We heard that sound. Man, that was big." But that's a story we'll never. It's just kind of funny. But that's the upbringing that I remember. We had a lot of fun. There's a lot of memories in this house. Growing up in Lagro, um, it started a little something in my life, God's protection, and things that God has done for me. Okay, now let me go ahead and show you. This is my siblings. If you remember, there's John. Wasina is now passed away. She's no longer with us. This was back 6 years ago, the picture. Christy, John, myself. Um, and so it's just John, myself, John now that is the oldest, me, then Christy. Um, those are the only three that are of us that are remaining of our family. Um, here it was several years ago before Mom passed away. Mom passed away. Then a couple years later, Wasina passed away. So that was Wasina, Mom, John, myself. Christy wasn't able to make it. And then here is my family. Wow. Why is that? Let me go back here. Yeah. There we go. Okay. And okay, here is my family. There's of course, my wife, Pamela. Here I am. Our oldest, our son, Joshua, he's older. Our daughter, Bethany. There's Joshua's wife, Mamie, and Willow. They live in Terre Haute, Indiana. And then Bethany's husband, Darren, and our granddaughter, Amelia. So we got two grandkids, Amelia and Willow. And they live, we live down here in Florida, just north of West Palm. They live over in Okeechobee County, Florida. So there's my family. I love my family, and it's great to have family. All right. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. That's another little insight into my growing up in Lagro, but I also brought in the family. If you remember the Powell family, once again, make sure you comment, like. But if you'd like to follow along with us, please subscribe to the channel. And we are talking about how God has led me through my life And once I get out of the Lagro era, I'm going to go on and tell about how the different places I've lived and what brought me to living in Florida. Thank you. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch you on the next video. Have a great day. God bless.